Whenever beginning any reloading operation, it's a good idea to start out with safety glasses. Even when cleaning a new set of dies, we will be working with aerosols that can get into your eye, so please take your safety very seriously. Congratulations on your purchase of Hornady's New Dimension reloading dies. Take your safety very seriously. If at any point you get lost, please refer to the instructions that come with every set of Hornady New Dimension dies. And the first step in preparing the dies for use is complete disassembly. The dies will come assembled but not tightened, so they're easy to disassemble. And the main reason for disassembly is to remove the protective oil that's placed on the die after their manufacture. This oil is a very good anti-tarnish, however it's not a good lubricant. I recommend when you disassemble the dies that you keep each of the individual dies in a group so that you don't become confused with which part goes where. And finally, we'll disassemble the cedar die. The cedar die is the most mechanically involved die, the most complicated one to work with, the most small parts. However, it's not difficult. We have the retainer ring, a small ring that just fits in the base of the die or the mouth of the die to keep in the alignment sleeve and the seating stem. Once the die set is completely disassembled, we'll begin degreasing. Hornady One-Shot Gun Cleaner and Dry Lube is an excellent choice for this operation, as it will dissolve any of the anti-tarnish compound that's on the die and leave a protective coating of dry lube on the die to prevent it from rusting when it's in storage. What we're going to do, shake well to make sure we get the lubricant and the solvents in the can mixed. From there, we're just going to start spraying them off. I like to leave the die wet once it's clean. As it dries, the dry lubricant film will be left on the surface of the metal and protect the die. And then continue with the other parts. Onto the die body of the cedar die. We're going to go ahead and spray this off real well. And then with the rag, you can see the hole in the cedar die is wide open. The internal dimension on all of our cedar die bodies is the same, and they're easy to clean with simply a rag or a paper towel when you're spraying the die off. The same from the other end to get any of the anti-tarnish out. The anti-tarnish, if it's left in the body of the cedar die, can over time get sticky as the petroleum distillates dry out of the anti-tarnish compound. So you want to make sure you get it all out. If it gets sticky, it can make it hard for the alignment sleeve to move and come back down and return to the original position. Reassembly of the Hornady New Dimension dies is simple. It's basically reversing the process that you use to disassemble the dies for cleaning. We'll start with the sizing die. The first thing we'll do is reinstall the lock ring, and we're going to go ahead and reinstall the lock ring up fairly high on the threads, which will allow plenty of adjustment down into the press. Second, we're going to install the spindle lock onto the spindle. You can hear a zip. What that sound is a series of light threads that are cut on the spindle. Those light threads increase the amount of surface area contacting on those two parts. The fact that the amount of surface area is increased means that the holding power of the spindle lock on the spindle is much greater and therefore much less prone to slipping. The next step in assembly is to thread the spindle lock into the die set, into the top of the die body until we feel it stop. At that point we're going to back it off, and you can see the decapping rod and the decapping rod retainer sleeve are slid way too far through the mouth of the die. To set this properly, we're going to go ahead and slide that back so that the retainer sleeve is about 1/8 of an inch inside the mouth of the die, which will prevent the web of the cartridge from contacting the sleeve. Second, proper adjustment of the decapping pin should be approximately 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch of protrusion below the mouth of the die. The most important thing is to make sure that the retainer sleeve or the elliptical expander in the case of a bottleneck die set is not protruding below the mouth of the die. When we've got it set to that point, we're going to go ahead and make it finger tight, which will prevent any slipping during setup. When we set the die up in the press, we'll go ahead and lock everything down with the wrenches. Next, in the case of any straight wall die sets, rifle or handgun, is the expander die. And reassembly is very straightforward with this die. The lock ring is reinstalled, and much like the size die, we're going to go ahead and install the lock ring high on the threads to allow plenty of room for adjustment. Now onto the most complicated of the three dies, and don't let that scare you. The cedar die is best reassembled starting at the top with the nylon washer, rubberized nylon washer that will allow tension to be provided on the seating stem adjustment. This is the seating stem adjustment tension ring. We'll go ahead and screw that on, slip that through the nylon tension washer into the threads. Just get that started, put a little bit of tension on it to hold everything in place during setup, and then we're going to flip the die over. Next step is to install the cedar stem into the alignment sleeve. Then we'll take that assembly, slip it into the die body, seating stem first, and then finally we'll install the retainer ring. You can see that there's a hole at the mouth of the die, and that the retainer ring has got a smooth end and a hooked end. From the inside of the die, we're going to go ahead and slip the smooth end through the hole. Let's see, from the inside, we'll take that through, and we're going to pull the rest of the way, and it doesn't matter, you can hook it either direction and it will work. And that drops into a groove that's machined in the mouth of the die. Slip that in, and that ring will keep the alignment sleeve and seating stem assembly from slipping out the mouth of the die. And finally, we'll go ahead and install the lock ring. Again, high on the threads to allow plenty of room for adjustment. And that die set is ready to go on the press.